Fights are messy, savage, and violent, period. Now, someone sucker punching you in the face or kicking you in the head when you're on the ground can be life-threatening and is brutal beyond imagination. However, when we talk about fighting, what do we think of? Boxing, karate, mixed martial arts like cage and other championship fighting? Now, these are violent sports that present violence in a realistic way. However, unlike most of us, these fighters are top athletes who have years of dedicated training and experience. Now, they are some of the world's toughest fighters, and I have no doubt that most of them could survive an unarmed street attack. But remember, competition fights are governed by rules and time, enforced by a referee who can stop the fight. Now try to imagine what would happen if someone without this level of training is attacked at home or is involved in a fight on the street. Maybe there's more than one attacker. There are no rules. We have to do whatever it takes to survive. Now, thugs and criminals, by definition, don't live by our rules. So we need to train and mentally prepare for this eventuality by thinking outside the ring. Let's be brutally honest. No training can ever fully prepare us for the shock of a violent confrontation, particularly in a situation where we risk serious injury or death. This is where all of our awareness, movement, striking, self-defense training must come together and replicate these realities as close as possible. Remember, on the street there are no rules, and unfortunately we can't tap out. And time. We're now going to look at 360 defenses. What I'm doing is creating a defense 360 degrees around. A circle in this position. Again, in Krav Maga, we want to look at what is natural to us. This is a natural reaction, so we turn this into a defense. Now later we'll look at using a similar defense against hook punches, and against roundhouse kicks, and also against knife attacks. What am I doing? Now it's important before we start, although you saw this demonstration with no protection on the arms, the problem is that although we want to condition ourselves in Krav Maga, safety always comes first. So we want to use an arm guard like so to protect our forearms. When we look at 360, we are starting in a passive position. Now this can be done from a fighting stance. It can be done from a semi-passive position or passive position. It can also be done in situations that are more relaxed, like hands on the hips. For now, we're going to start in a semi-passive position. My hands are slightly forward. My elbows are in, protecting my ribs. The defense I'm making is a chopping motion against Travis's attack. I am using the blade of my arm to defend as close as I can to the wrist from this position. I am looking center, through the center, Travis's chin or the center of his chest. Why? It's important that we look, stay there Travis, at the center of the chest so we start building our peripheral vision. If I, in this exercise, focus on Travis's arm and one arm only as he makes an attack, I'm not going to see around me. I want to see the whole attack, so I look center. Again, my elbows are in, my hands are back, chin level. Travis starts to make the attacks. From here, I'm defending as close as I can to the wrist. I am coming back to a central position. This is important. Why? If I don't come back to a central position and he attacks again and again and again, I am not able to function with my arms out here. I have to come back central so I can make other defenses and counterattacks. Again, slowly, I defend at the wrist. I make a chopping motion, my hand recoils, out and back. Out and back. I am bending at the waist on the lower attacks. You'll see later in knife defenses from this position. I have to bend at the waist. If I bend my knees, I bring myself closer to the danger. Coming back to a central position, always. Freeze. Notice my hand, my fingers. They're extended, they're not closed. Why? Because this gives me more surface area to defend. Even if I catch the defense here, it's better than to catching the defense with a closed fist. So from here, I have more length in my defense. And out. Still looking central. Time. Let's recap and look at the important parts of the defense. From this position here, Travis makes the attack. I'm defending deep and close to the wrist. Now, if I was to put a knife in Travis's hand, as I said before, this basic defense will build more advanced defenses. I must be deep because I don't know what he will have in his hand. It could be a punch, it could be a broken bottle, it could be a knife. So from here, I want to make as close as possible to the wrist, bend in the elbow. I am deep in my defense, my weight is going forward from this position here. Also, defending low. I'm defending as close as I can to the wrist from this position. And I'm bending at the waist. I'm locking my knees. Why? Because it brings my body further away from the knife. If I bend my knees, I come closer. Further away, bending forward at the waist, pushing down, weight going down from here. Blade of the arm. Very important, I am making a chopping motion. This will hurt the attacker's arm. Bone against the arm. Points to remember. You can start semi-passive. This can be done from a relaxed position. This can be done from a fighting stance. We start from a passive position. Elbows protecting the ribs. Elbows are in. Hands are about chin level. From this position, remember the angle. Sometimes it'll be 90 degrees, sometimes it'll be a little bit more. The important thing to remember is we do not want to exceed to the point where we are straightening our arm. We must maintain this angle here to stop the attack. I am using a chopping motion, blade of the arm. My fingers are extended out. My hands come back to a central position. I am looking center. So I can work train on my peripheral vision. Recoiling back. On the low attacks, I'm bending at my waist, not at the knees. Still making chopping motions. Down. Now making the defense with a counterattack. We can either do this simultaneously from this position here, as quickly as possible. Not everyone can do this. So we can add a slight pause before we make our counterattack. As quickly as possible. Remember, when you're training on doing your simultaneous counterattack, it is important that you make a strong defense. The punch and the defense works together. My weight is going forward. This is what generates the power in my defense. Do not make this and then this. At the same time, forward. I am scanning for multiple attackers. Notice after I make my defense that I'm constantly looking for other attackers. One more time. Remember, defending low. I bend at the waist, striking as quickly as possible. Defending at the wrist, not bending the knees. If there's a knife in the hand, I'm bringing myself closer to the knife. I don't want to do this. Pushing down, attacking, continuing to attack, and scanning the area. From this position here. From here, I'm attacking, looking. And out. Using all my combatives. When you train on this, start to incorporate palm strikes, hammers, kicks, hammer fists, scanning the area. Why do I want to counterattack as quickly as possible? So 360-degree defenses with either simultaneous counterattack or a slight pause and counterattacking as quickly as possible. Using all of our combatives we've learned so far: kicks, punches, elbows, knees. Inside defense against straight punches to the face or throat area. Let's look at my defense. Again, as Travis attacks, this is a natural reaction. So we turn this into a defense, and the defense is a redirection. I am redirecting with the palm of my hand. I am not starting with my hands back here or back here, because it only makes sense to bring my hands slightly away from my chin so I can meet the punch earlier. We don't fight with our hands back here. If Travis puts his hand back towards his chin, the problem is that I can push the hands into his face. He's not a boxer. He doesn't have boxing gloves on in the street. So he can't use those gloves to help with his defense. His hands are open from this position here, which is easier to redirect the punch. And he's slightly away to meet the punch earlier. When Travis makes the attack from here, I am making a very small movement with my redirection. I am not making a slapping motion. Why? Because this exposes my face, so if Travis wants to make an attack, he can. From here, I make very small defense, enough to take the punch off its track. There's two parts to my defense. There's a hand defense and a body defense. Here. From this position, attacking with the hand. My hand is still up. My hand, both my hands come back to a central position. So, I can defend other attacks. Here. Again, this can be done from a more relaxed position. This can be done from a semi-passive position. It can be done from a fighting stance. Inside defenses against straight punches to the face or the throat. Inside defenses, just using the hand defense. Now we look at using the body defense, moving the head out of the line of attack. Let's recap. My hands are not close to my chin. I want to bring my hands away slightly from my face, so I can meet the punch early. I am defending diagonally forward with the palm of my hand, or towards the heel of the hand. From this position, I'm making a small defense. Not a big movement, a slapping movement with my hand. Why? Because this exposes my face. 100% defense is with the hand. 200% defense is with the body, moving the head out of the way of the attack. From this position, my elbows are in, protecting my ribs. 100% defense, 200% defense. Again, this can be done from a relaxed position, here, from a semi-passive position, as you've just seen, or a fighting stance, forward hand or the backhand. Position. Inside defense with a counterattack. We have simultaneous counterattack. There might be a slight pause before we make the counterattack. Not everyone can make a simultaneous counterattack. So, we defend and we attack as soon as possible from this position. With all of our counterattacks. This position, please. My hands, my elbows are in, my hands are up. Diagonally forward, I'm defending. Palm, heel of the hand. From this position here, I am attacking. It is possible, if I turn Travis here, it is possible that when Travis attacks me here, I can slide down the arm to account for his recoil. When he recoils, I grab, I move off the line of attack. Boom. Again, freeze. Live side. Dead side. Ideally, I want to be dead side. So when Travis attacks from here, I'm now coming into a position where I have the advantage. And if Travis makes some sort of an attack from here, I can easily counter from this position. I have the advantage. As well as remembering scanning for multiple attackers, I can also use Travis to shield from this position here. Scanning. Inside defenses with counterattacks. Recapping, inside defenses with counterattack. My elbows are in, I'm in a fighting stance. From this position here, I make my defense. I make my body defense. I'm pushing off with my back foot, with my legs, coming off the line of the attack. From this position, here. Delivering multiple counterattacks. Here, from this position. Pushing off on the feet, finishing the attack, moving out, scanning. Defending with the backhand. I make my defense, I make my body defense, and as quickly as possible, I make my simultaneous counterattack, or as soon as possible, I want to counterattack. Following off the line of attack with counterattacks, following up with attacks. Pushing off the legs, finishing, pushing back, scanning for other attackers. Let's now look at live side versus dead side. Now, what do we mean by this? If Travis was to go into a fighting stance, left leg forward, If I'm in this position to Travis, I'm now at his live side. He is in a better position to strike. I don't want to be in this position. Sometimes I may find myself in this position, but I want to be, if possible, at his dead side. This will place me at the shoulder towards the back. It's a lot harder for him now to strike, but a lot easier for me to defend. I'm also in a better position, this is very important, to scan for multiple attackers. Now if Travis reverses his stance and his right leg is forward, I'm now at his live side. I want to be at his dead side. Obviously the principles are the same, but everything is reversed. This position. The defense is with the forearm. I'm trying to defend with either the blade or the meaty part of the forearm. My fingers are extended to make my defense longer. I am making, similar to a 360, I am making a chopping motion across my body. My elbow is leading. If I go high, again, elbows are in, protecting the ribs. I am making this movement here. Chopping movement, elbow leading across my body. Again, my head going in the opposite direction, making a body defense. Watch from here. From this position. If he goes low, I'm still making the same defense and of course taking my body off the line of attack. From here. Notice that all I'm doing is adjusting my defense from high to low. If there's a high attack, I make my defense, I make my body defense, I come off the line of attack. Low, I adjust this position. Again, low punch, here. High, here. From this position, take me the right hand, please. Low. Now we look at counterattacks, just like we did with the inside defense, either simultaneous or as quickly as I can. From this position here, I move, I scan. This position, low punch. Watch what I'm doing. Inside defenses, using the forearm, defending high, defending low, elbow leading. Let's look at how I'm making the defense. For now, I'm in a fighting stance. My elbows are in. I'm going to defend with the forward hand. I'm making a chopping motion from this position here. My elbow is leading. My head goes in the opposite direction. Just like using my palm, I am now using the forearm. I go to the outside of my arm. This is my body defense here. I also am going to be advancing off the line of the attack. From this position here, I'm going to push with my feet to give explosive counterattacks. From this position. And continue to attack and scan. From this position here. Scanning, scanning. Being aware of other attackers. I now adjust to a low punch. I bend at the waist. I do not bend my knees. I bend at the waist. Again, same thing. My hands come away from my body slightly, but diagonally forward. I am defending with the elbow. The elbow is leading, defending with the forearm from this position. Bending at the waist. I make my body defense. I come off the line of the attack. I can continue with counterattacks. Defending across. My elbow leads. 1. Push off from the legs. Continue with counterattacks. From this position here. 1. Turning, attacking. Continue to scan. Inside defense is using the forearm against a punch high and low from this position. position. Reflexive defense against a front regular kick. Now we have defenses with our hands against punches. We also have defenses with our legs against kicks. If I'm in a position where I don't expect the kick, it catches me off guard. From this position, my hands are already down, so I have to make some sort of instinctive, getting back to how we build defenses in Krav Maga. Instinctively, this is something that I might do. So we turn this into a defense. This position here. Opposite leg. From here, what am I doing? I'm making reflexive defense across my body. I'm making a punch with my, depending with the palm, the hand, the wrist area. The opposite hand comes up to protect my face. Opposite leg. From this position. Again, this leg. Just like when I make defenses against straight punches with my hands or my forearms, I have to make some sort of a body defense and come off the line of the attack. So watch what I'm doing first. My hand leads. I'm bending, my hand goes forward. I do not defend close to my body. If I do this, I will get the kick from here. I lean slow, please, with your right leg. Slow. I lean forward. I make the defense. At the same time, as defending the leg from here, I start to move around off the line of the attack. Again, from this position, with the opposite leg. One more time. Here. I'm now at Travis's dead side, as opposed to his live side. Let's break the technique down. From this position, my hands are down. I am making a punching movement across my body, defending with the hand, heel, wrist area. From this position, the opposite hand comes up to protect my face from other attacks. I'm bending at the waist. My hand travels away from my body. I want to, just like with a straight punch, I want to come away from my body so I meet the kick or the attack earlier. From here. I'm defending the attacker's leg, back of the leg, calf area, if possible. From here. Now we add the body defense. From this position here, just like when we make defenses against straight punches, I make a defense with my hand or my arm. I make a body defense. I want to come off the line of the attack. So from this position here, one, my hand travels, my body follows. Pushing off with my feet. This position here. From this position, right leg. And one more time with this position here. Adding counterattacks to our defense. I make my defense, I come off the line of the attack, I blitz him with counterattacks. Everything we have learnt, we put together. I scan. From this position here, attack. Let's combine now the hand defense, the body defense, and the counterattacks. From this position, in scanning. My hand goes first, my body follows, I counterattack. Scanning. From this position. One. Body follows. I attack. Scanning. It is easier from this position after I make my defense. As I move, my hand is already coming through with the defense, so it's maybe possible to do hammer fist followed by a straight punch. It's a very good combination. 1, 2, 3. Attacking, moving. Reflexive hand defense, body defense, counterattacks. Scanning for multiple attackers. Using a stomping kick or a side kick as a defense against a front regular kick. I'm defending with the flat part of my foot. From this position here, I'm in a fighting stance. As Travis makes the kick slowly, I'm bringing my leg up and I'm making a kick forward. I am not back with my weight. My weight is forward and down on the attack. I have to combat the strength of his kick so it does not knock me off balance. From this position here, I am giving a strong kick forward. I'm aiming for his knee area so I can get the shin. Opposite leg. They're using the back leg. From this position here, I aim for the knee, I get the shin. Opposite leg. Weight going forward. Flat part of the foot. Attacking the shin area. Using counterattacks with our stop kicks. This is very important. As soon as I make my defense from this position, my attack's already sent. I am blitzing Travis. Multiple counterattacks from this position. With the back leg. Remembering to scan. Be aware of multiple attackers. One more time from this position. Slowly. I make my stop kick. My weight is going forward. I aim for the knee. I get the shin. I am landing as quickly as possible with counterattacks. Scanning. I can make my defense from a passive stance, semi-passive or fighting stance with the forward leg or the back leg. As I'm making my stomping kick forward, my toes are either pointed out and my heel is in, or my toes are in and my heel is out. I'm aiming for the attacker's knee area to get the shin. My hands are up. This is very similar to a side kick. Forward leg or the back leg. It's important that we add the counterattacks. As I make my defense and I land forward, I must continue with multiple attacks, remembering all your strikes. Scanning, being aware of multiple attackers.
Again. Let's do it slow. What happens when the kick is coming? From this position, the low hand dives in as far as I can, crossing to the other side in front of the knee and low. The hand is making a hook, trying to catch with this part. The closest part of the forearm, close to the wrist, the hand is in a diagonal down motion. From here, while the hand is going, the body turns away. The hand is pulling, scooping the hand away, twisting the body, moving the leg off center line, counter attack with the other hand to the face. And from there, continue. Again, slow. From here, again, slow with a partner. Let's do it a little bit slower. When the attack is coming, I'm doing an outside defense. Like the 360, a little bit different as we're talking about the leg. Fleshy part, outside, hand clinched. While I make the defense, step offline, kick with the other leg to the groin, bringing the other leg to the base leg and kicking from there, continuing, finishing. Let's do it again, slow. Slow, please. When the punch comes in a circle away, my defense is going to the outside and back a little bit. All this to try and prevent the crook of the arm. While I'm going out and back, the defense is being done correctly. When the punch is a straight punch, it is the same. I need to defend to the outside. When we are talking about a hand attack or a knife that we don't see the problem, we better be safe, meaning the hand has to be away from the head. When going back and out, I've got this distance that saves me from the knife. What happens when there is a sharp object? We need the distance. When he has a sharp object, because of the position of the sharp object, this is not good. So I need to be here. Counterattack, counterattack, finish.
Let's now look at a drill that's going to bring Travis's inside and outside defenses together. This is going to look more like a fight now. I'm building Travis for a fight. Okay, from this position here, Travis is going to be doing inside, outside, and low defenses. And I work with Travis. Good. Building his 360, and he's inside. He's putting everything together. We move. Now, we add the counterattack. On my call, Travis. Go. Good, and we move. As quickly as possible after Travis defends, he's counterattacking. Go. Good, and move. Go. Good. Go. Okay, make a defense. Counterattack. Good, nice, and move. Good. Go. Good. Go. Again. It's okay. Let's do it again. Good. Nice. Low punches. Nice. Go. Good. And move. Again. Go. Good. Remember to bring your elbow across your body. Elbow leads. Go. Again. Go. Time. Nice. This drill can be performed on different levels. Very basic drill. Building Travis's defenses inside and out, applying a little bit of pressure. We can apply more pressure as we go along, and allowing him to defend and counterattack as soon as possible. There are a number of drills, fighting drills and combative drills that we can do in Krav Maga. It's important to remember safety, safety, safety. Now, as you can see, we're training here with protective suits. The purpose of this drill is not to show full contact fighting. It is putting all of our combatives together and preparing us for a fight. As you can see, that we are delivering our strikes with no dead spaces. We're chaining and linking our attacks together. After we kick, we follow up straight away with strikes. We must push the student beyond just striking the air or a pad. We must feel what it's like to be hit, and we must feel what it's like to actually hit someone. Of course, remembering safety. Putting all of our combatives together. We can also do our defenses. Defending with multiple counterattacks, either simultaneously or with 1.5 beat as soon as possible. This again adds that realism to our training. Working with our longest weapons, to our medium range weapons, all the way into our close quarter strikes, and then working from our close quarter strikes to our medium range weapons all the way back out to our long range weapons. Striking in advance and striking as we retreat. Let's now look at some basic ground fighting techniques. Now, whether you are taken to the ground in an attack or you happen to fall or trip, the reality is that the dynamics change when you're on the ground. Your options become limited. Firstly, if I go to the ground, it's a lot harder to strike. Although we can strike from the ground, I lose my power. Secondly, if your opponent from this position is stronger than you, they have the advantage. If your opponent is experienced in ground fighting, such as mixed martial arts or jiu-jitsu, they also have the advantage. And more importantly, hop up for 1 second. If there are multiple attackers standing and I have to defend myself, it's a lot harder to defend, counter, and get to my feet and get to a safe position.
Let's do it again, slow. When we start from the long range, the attacker is coming from the long range. I see and I'm ready to deal with him. The first simple thing to do, kick the head and then continue. Again, slow. When he's coming, kick to the head, falling down, continue however I want, and moving away. When we have less time, or when we react a little bit later, we need something else. Let's see this one. Again, slow. When the attacker comes in, I send my forearm, body away. The other hand attacks the eyes, knee, finish off the way I want, and as usual, move away. when we are being pushed or tripped back. The head, protecting the head by putting the chin to the chest, this way to protect the back of the head. Hands are hitting the floor with the fleshy part all the way from the elbow towards the finger, the big muscle, at about 45 degrees downwards. Head is tucked in, getting hit on the floor, on the middle section, top section of the back. When falling down, the hip is being lifted a little bit, pressing with one of the leg up, so the tailbone will not get hit. The leg is coming in, knee out, leg in, so I am ready to kick. Hands are in. The way we do it at the beginning, lying down on the floor, hands here, hitting the floor with the hands. Making sure the elbow doesn't hit. Same time, chin to chest. In the same time, lifting the leg, pressing so the tailbone is up. And now we can start to go up a little bit. So from crouching, just rolling back, doing the fall break. And slowly getting up higher and higher. The last part should be without touching the butt, the lower part of the back. While going down, sending the hip forward. Meaning, hands hitting the floor, taking the momentum and the power of the fall. Legs on the ball of the foot, so nothing from the body is touching. The head turns to the side and up to save the face. Starting from the knees and doing a little bit of push-ups, looking to the left, looking to the right. Looking side and up. And now, falling to the floor from the knee position. When falling to the floor, staying on the knees for easy. Later on, going on the ball of the foot. Pay attention that the hands are shooting to more or less where the shoulders will be. meaning, so I stop my weight. If the hands will be a little bit too back, the head will go forward and hit. Getting up, and from here, break falling. The purpose of a roll forward is to prevent hitting the floor very strong. Meaning when falling with momentum forward, to roll is the best option in order to prevent the body from injury. The whole idea is that the hand will get some of the momentum away. The head hides, rolling from the shoulder to the other side of the body, and then get up from the floor, get ready for the next thing. How do we do that? Starting from the floor. How to get up? Getting up, legs should be in more or less the figure 4. One leg on the top, one leg bent under, ball of the foot of the back leg, and going to the kneeling position. For me, this is the motion. With a little bit more momentum, going back, rolling on my back, coming back, twisting the legs, positioning them in the figure 4, one under, one over. Again. And from here, get up. Finish the get up. Going down when we are falling, the hands will reach and stop ourselves. Of course, the first reaction will be a step forward as we are falling, trying to stabilize ourselves. Then the hands are going, the step forward leg, forward hand, pointing to the outside, so the fingers to the inside. The other hand in 90 degrees on the floor close to the leg. The head will go to the back hand, looking backwards in order to protect the head. From here, the momentum will take me forward, and I will roll. And I get up. The first one, getting up forward. After I fell to the ground, I did my break fall. I am in this position. The attacker is still in front of me. Kicking, transition to side, and get up towards him. When I am on the side, after here, kicking, turning to the side, forearm and the leg on the side, pushing myself towards the knee on the ball of the foot, knee and hand for stabilization, kick and continue towards the target. This is option number one, attacking forward. Option number two will be running away, meaning turning the back on the problem and get away from the area. Again with a break fall backwards. What happens when I break fall? Turning to the runner's position and running away. When I am on the floor, in this position, bringing the hands, turning to the side, bringing the hands, fingers facing the direction I want to go, the top leg goes over, putting the foot over the knee. Foot over the knee. And from here, just running. This is running away. The last one, in the place, standing in the place, checking the area. Again with a break fall backwards. What happens after I break fall? Here, checking the area, getting up in the place, putting the leg in the air. On the floor, lifting the hip, moving the leg under, and get up. From here, the break fall, putting the leg on the floor, going to the same side position, push up, lift the hip, the hand is always protecting, bring the leg under the body, more or less to the line of the hand, and getting up. When I break fall, after I check that everything is okay, I just run forward in case there is somebody behind me. Slow. The whole idea is to get into the runner's position, meaning when I am in the position of the break fall, look behind you, everything is okay, bring one leg forward, runner's position, and just run forward.
When we're standing, we fight from a ready position. We're a fighting stance. We can also train from a semi-passive position or a passive position, a more relaxed state, okay? When we go to the ground, we must learn to defend and attack from some sort of a position that best protects us, where we can move, defend, and attack. Now, for the purpose of this drill, we're going to use safety mats. Joey is on the ground. And if we look at what Joey's doing, his hands are up protecting his face, slightly away from his face, so he can make his defenses. His chin is to his chest, his head is off the ground to protect his head. His knee is to his chest, so he can kick. He has the opposite leg, base leg, on the ground, so he can use this to move, to pivot. He can also use his hands if he has to move. We're going to look at a simple drill that will allow Joey to get used to moving on the ground if someone is trying to attack him. I'm simply going to try and touch Joey's shoulders or his head, and he's going to move. Each time he moves, he's going to adjust his legs, so there's always a kicking leg in between us. We work like this. I'm just trying to touch his shoulders. From here, he shifts his leg. Now, of course, we can look at this drill in advanced stages later on. We know that people aren't trying to touch your shoulder on the street. They're trying to kick you. They're trying to jump on you and punch you. Trying to put you in some sort of an arm lock. Or perhaps use weapons. For now, this is a basic building drill. I try and touch his shoulders. As I move, he switches. From here. Kicking on the ground. I am restricted. If I'm standing, I can generate more power by moving, but I can't because I'm on my back. I can kick from this position. If I'm on my back, I have to bring my head off the ground. Again, my hands are in front, slightly forward to protect myself from possible attacks. To generate power in my kick, I have to bring my hips off the ground. Striking with the heel, flat part of the foot. Butt off the ground. I can use left foot, right foot from this position. Pushing through the pad. Like a lot of our kicks, this is a stomping kick. I can roll onto my side, come onto my elbow, and kick. Still using a front kick, or more of a side kick from this position. Maybe coming up a little bit when I kick. Flat part of the foot, using the heel. Again, I have to engage my hips by bringing them off the ground from this position. Again, slowly, as I kick, my hips come off the ground. My hands stay in front of my face to protect myself from here. Joey starts to move from this position. I must move with him. I adjust to his attack. From here, he comes forward. Maybe I use a series of kicks from here. So if my opponent is slightly away from me, I can use my kicks. He's at kicking range. Just like when we're standing, we talk about fighting, we talk about the ranges, using our long weapons, our kicks, into our intermediate, which are punches, and then into close quarter, elbows, headbutts, knees. The same thing applies on the ground. Again, I lose a little bit of power in my attacks. So after I make my kicks, maybe Joey breaks through my defenses and he comes now on top. From here, what do we have? Hammer fists. Palm strikes. If I can, depending on where he is, I can punch. I can hook punch if he's a little bit closer. I can elbow. Again, with these strikes, I do not punch with my head flat on the ground. I want to be engaged. I want to see. I attack. How do I generate my power? My shoulders. I must bring my shoulders off the ground. From this position. Again, I can hammer fist. Upper body. Left or right, or multiple attacks. Palm strikes. Straight punches. Hook punches if he's closer. Even if he's closer, I can still use hammers and elbows and maybe headbutts. Biting, scratching, eye gouging. These are all very effective strikes.
Again. When he takes me down, I full break, and now I need to turn and deal with him. Meaning I am in this position, he is still there. I go down to my forearm so I can start rolling towards my back. The same leg goes in, so I am turning all the way. From here, attack, continue attacking, and from here, continue or just run away. When he's pushing me, I make a fall break and then an outside defense, like we saw before. After I've been pushed, the fall break, he's coming in, outside defense. Because of his momentum, I roll, kick, continue, and then make a decision. Continue forward, destroy or move away. This is when he's rushing in. When he positions himself over me, a little bit different. Again, slow. More or less the same thing. The attacker is now over me, standing. Still using the inside or outside defense and continue with counterattack. Let's see this breakdown. Make the inside defense, counterattack to the groin, move, kick, and then again make the decision of continue counterattacks or move away. The last situation is while being thrown to the floor, he goes with me and he's in a mount position. When we are in the situation that is sitting on me again, the defense, the counterattack can go low or high, catch the hand, throw to the direction of the caught hand, continue with counterattacks to the groin, and from here, finish. One way of finish can go towards the head, finish here, or again please, on 4, or from here, hit, spread, kick, and move away. Again. What happens when the attacker is kicking? I use the same defense. Fleshy part out, hand is clenched away from my head. It is the same defense like we're doing standing up. Please slow. This is dangerous. He can break my hand. So what I want to do in the same time, again please, I want to move my body as much as I can. So the hand is for safety here. Please again. Now the legs. while I rotate towards him, the legs will kick my opponent. Again. Using a stomping kick, if I can, a double kick, it's the best. After the initial kick, decide what you need to do. Either go attack him some more or just run away, getting up like we learned.
Inside-outside defenses. When we're standing, we've been over this. We've reviewed that I can make a defense inside. I can also make defenses against outside attacks. In Krav Maga, we give you basic defenses that build more advanced techniques. So when we go to the ground, do the same principles apply? Yes, they do. From this position here, Joey is in the full mount from here. He makes an attack with his right hand. I make my defense. I redirect his punch with the palm of my hand. Remember, just like when we're standing, there are two parts to my defense. I have 100% defense with my hand. I have 200% defense with my body defense, moving my head out of the way. Again, I'm defending with the palm of the hand. From this position here, I can counter the eyes, I can counter the groin from this position. Again, here. Other hand from this position. Redirecting. Moving my head off the line, away from the danger, which is the punch. Outside attacks. Will the same defense work? Yes. Look at the position of my head. I am not in this position. I want to be able to see what's happening. I want to stop my head from hitting the ground. So my chin comes to my chest, my hands are away from my face. He makes the outside attack. I make my 360. Deep in my defense, blade of the arm, boom. Chopping motion from this position, again, here. I can counter again to the eyes, attack the groin. Other side, here. We can also trap the hands. I can hook or grab the hands. Remember, there are no rules in Krav Maga. If I have to eye gouge, I do. If I have to grab the groin, I do. If I have to bite and scratch, I do this. Whatever it takes to survive. From this position here, I grab, I bridge from here. I attack, I attack, I attack. Attack the groin, I push, I go. Or I can swing the leg from this position. Attack and go.
Now we're going to look at defending a stomp when the defender is lying on the floor. Before this, let's look at something we already done that looks pretty similar to what we're going to do on the ground. Defending against punches, inside and outside defenses. Please. These techniques, inside and outside defenses against punches, we are doing the same thing on the floor. Let's look at it. In this technique, please, we are doing outside defense like we did against the punch. Again, please. Turning the legs, kicking, and then moving away or running after him, destroy. This is the first option. The second option, when I'm doing an inside defense. The inside defense again. So, the inside defense, counter-attack, shrimp out, kick, continue. When we are doing the inside defense, we find ourselves with the attacker over me. From here, immediately hitting the groin once, twice, pushing, shrimping out, bringing my legs up, kicking, and continue. Continue destroying or continue while running away.
An attacker sitting on top of us, striking or choking us, is a very dangerous position to be in. We need to disturb his balance and defend any attacks. We can do this by thrusting with our hips. This is done by pulling our feet close to our butt and then bucking or bridging our hips towards our head or obliquely over one shoulder. What's Steph doing? As you can see, she's thrusting powerfully with her hips and touching the floor above her shoulder. And this is one of many bridging exercises that you can do to help improve your ground defense techniques.
Now we're gonna see the same thing, the same timeline with chokes. We start with choke from the front. You already done the basic choke from the front. When the problem comes, let's look at a variation, a one-hand variation. What happens when the choke is on? One hand releases. The second hand goes in, fingers to the eyes, and from here continue and move away. This is the one hand variation. Now what happens when my reaction or the attacker takes me down with the same choke? While he is taking me down while I'm falling, I'll do the technique. Kick and move away. The next variation, of course, is when I react so late that I am already on the ground and he is on my side. Please. It is exactly the same, but we are more stationary on the ground. Let's do it slow. The one hand release. Hit, kick, kick, and finishing the same way. Moving away or kicking the head. Now let's see another option, variation, when we are on the ground and the attacker is choking me from the mount position. The release, the same like standing, plucking, hitting with one hand while grabbing one of his hands with my other hand, hitting to the face or to the ribs, and from here continuing throwing towards the direction of the hand that is caught. Let's see. And from here continuing either going back or going forward, as we already know. Slow. When the attacker takes me down, I do a basic fall break, please. Land on the floor. When he's choking, I do a release from behind, taking the palms away, the thumbs away, one hand to the outside, the other goes in, legs. One leg comes up and I push away, rolling away, getting around, up, counterattacks, finish. The hands go behind, one goes out, one goes in. The same leg as the hand out comes up. This way I can push myself away. Lift. Now I can press away and roll. Rolling over, taking the attacker away, counter-attacking and getting up. This is when there is a choke. The second situation can be when the attacker, instead of choking, slams the head to the floor. Let's see this. Let's do it slow. When the attacker is taking me down, the full break is the same. Please. He lands on me, slams the head. I bring my hands up to protect the head. From here, bring the leg up, press with the forearm towards the ear, twist, attack, get up, and finish. We already did the headlock from the side standing. We will do a repetition on this just to remember. And then we see what happens when the attacker manages to take me to the floor, and what happens, how do we solve the situation when we are already on the floor. Duncan, please. Let's do it again. Now, when he is taking me to the floor, meaning I didn't have time to react standing. I didn't do any prevention. I get into the problem, I solved the problem very late, meaning I am already on the floor. Please don't. Let's do it slow. When the attacker takes me to the floor, I am late, falling, getting to this situation, one hand goes around, take the eye, move the body, bring one leg over, make sure your Achilles tendon area is on the neck, bring your knee to the other knee, roll on your stomach, press up on his back. If you want to knee to the back of the head, okay, if not, just get up, hit him, and move. Now we're going to look at the same problem, a headlock from the side on the floor, while my hands are pinned under me. Let's do this slow. When the attacker takes me, I am pinned down with my hands under. I need to move out, bridge, catch the eyes, pull to my stomach, while pulling, turning the head, turning him, press up, attack, attack, and finish. Now let's see about what happens when we have the headlock from behind in a sitting position. Just before that, let's repeat the headlock standing from behind. Now let's do the same thing, sitting position. The attacker is behind me and do it slow. what happens when the attacker puts his hand, hide the head the same as standing, fingers hitting back, hooking his hand, in the same time bridge up while turning, turn around, take the head out, hit, get up, finish. That's it is a little bit faster.